before us.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Johnson.
Yes, I'd like to offer my Johnson Amendment number 1. I think without doubt, one of the factors fueling an explosion in human trafficking is the fact that our border is completely unsecure and we have a crisis of illegal immigration. The fact that this administration's policies are facilitating the multi-billion-dollar business model of some of the most evil people on the planet, including human traffickers, is without dispute. This crisis didn't have to happen. In the previous administration, with the agreements between Mexico, countries in Central America, the Remain in Mexico policy, we had by and large stopped the flow of unaccompanied children, families exploiting our asylum laws, and we were so close to gaining operational control over the border, just so close. And the final part of that was completing barriers, which, let's face it, as we put up a double set of fencing and walls around the Capitol here, I think everybody agreed, well, that certainly helped secure the Capitol. So walls work. That would have been the final step in securing our border. So that would have been our first step in solving our broken immigration system. We could have taken care of the DACA kids. But again, because this administration completely dismantled what was working and did not complete the construction of the wall, now we have just record numbers of people coming to this country illegally, undocumented. That is going to create problems in terms of gang activity and, I mean, just all kinds of human depredation in terms of human trafficking, sex trafficking, everything else. So I understand the intent of this bill is to try and gain some control over human trafficking. The best way to do that, to reduce the flow of human trafficking, reduce the problem, is to secure our border. A key component of that is the wall. And as Senator Langford has done a great job in some of his reports talking about the cost of just not building a wall, the wasted taxpayer dollars. It's absurd. It's insane what we've done here. So my amendment is pretty simple. If you're serious about reducing human trafficking, you need to get serious about ending the crisis of the illegal flow of illegal immigration and stop facilitating that business model of some of the most evil people on the planet, and we do that by completing the wall. So my amendment's pretty simple. It just it requires this administration to execute the laws that we passed and prohibits them from canceling or invalidating any of those contracts that the previous administration entered into to secure the border. And I urge all my colleagues to support my amendment.
Any other senator wish to comment? I will say this committee has previously considered similar amendments from Senator Johnson on this issue. Many of these border contracts were executed hastily through contracting shortcuts, disregarding objective data, environmental concerns, and private property concerns. The Biden administration must be able to terminate contracts that are irresponsible, ineffective, and unsafe uses of taxpayer money, while also completing and fixing those barriers that actually add to our country's security. Therefore, I'd urge my colleagues to vote no. Senator Portman.
Can I just add quickly, I've supported this amendment in the past, and it's very simple. When you go down to the border, as almost all of us have, I'm sure you see the gaps. They don't make any sense. You've got to have Border Patrol monitoring 24/7. The Border Patrol is very frustrated by it. But there's even a bigger issue here that I think both sides of the aisle should agree on, which is the technology. I mean, these are barrier systems, and it's a wall, but it's also monitoring, and it's not just cameras, it's also remote sensing, things that, are extremely important to getting control on the human trafficking issue, on the drug issue, and, of course, on the immigration issue. And in one sector that I visited, the wall was about 80 or 90% complete, and the gaps are frustrating because you see the metal, literally lying on the ground and some of the concrete barriers, and have to go by them every day. It's demoralizing. But only 10% of the technology was completed. So what they shut off by shutting off the contracts was much more about technology than it was about physical borders. And again, my sense is, as a bipartisan consensus, we support technology. And that's what makes the wall so effective. So I strongly support the amendment. I think we ought to allow these contracts to go forward rather than spend taxpayer money on something that's not being done, and ensure that this technology gets in place as well. It'll make the Border Patrol job easier, but also, as they told me, it makes their job safer. I mean, they actually use this, the technology side, without getting into detail, to monitor what's going on, but also to provide kind of their backbone for communications along the border, particularly in some of these areas where there's a lot of crossings, where it's really important that they have that communication. So anyway, that's my strong view on it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Romney.
May I also note that of course, any administration has the responsibility and the right to review contracts if they feel the contracts were not done properly. Of course, there are billions upon billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of contracts in the military and so forth. Those have all been just moved right along, but those things relating to completing the technology and border fence, those have been held up. The administration has been in office almost a full year. And the idea that somehow these completing a border barrier is because of concern about contracts strains credulity. I believe the American people are speaking loud and clear that they want to have our border secure, and the impact on everything from drugs to human trafficking is so enormous that simply not proceeding with providing the barrier, the technology necessary, and completing the gaps in the barrier is just something I simply don't understand. The American people are crying out for this. The results of elections suggest this is a critical issue for the American people, and the disaster at the border, the crisis at the border, is overwhelming. And if we think about the human impact of human trafficking going on, and not being able to provide for our border agents the technology and the barriers that they need to protect our homeland, to protect our citizens, and protect the people who are being trafficked, it's an enormous need. It's an enormous challenge, and I simply can't understand not being willing to complete the projects that were undertaken. Some months ago, when the administration said they wanted time to review these contracts, it's like, okay, but I've reviewed contracts. It doesn't take a year to review contracts, and I don't see a lot of other contracts being reviewed. So let's get this done and move on to provide the protection that our people and other people of other nations deserve. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Scott.
So I support the amendment. The border I've gone to, when I went to Arizona, they were just, the gates weren't finished, and then actually there's a lot of technology that was done. It just wasn't electrified. So it wasn't that they were reviewing contracts. It was just, are they going to turn on the electricity or not? The area that I saw, but one thing that's frustrating to me is anybody that's had to deal with human trafficking, and we all did. We all have to deal with it in our states. This is a big deal, and a lot of it comes across the southern border. But on top of that, I think all of us came up here to try to probably take care of the DACA kids and do some other things, and we can't do it. We can't do it. I mean, there's no way to get this done if we don't secure a border. And we all, in all of our states, we have a lot of young people that somebody else brought them here. We'd like to be helpful to them, and we can't do it because we don't have a secure border. So I think it's important that we pass this and we get a secure border, and eventually we get some immigration reform done. It's important to my state, and I think it's important to all of our states.
Senator Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, I recognize that I brought this amendment up in the past, not only in this committee but on the floor of the Senate. I was hoping at this moment, now that we have the report from the last years, a record flow of people coming across the border illegally, I was hoping that the members of this committee on a bipartisan basis would recognize that reality. I know Secretary Mayorkas, I realize the President of the United States are denying the reality that we have a crisis at the border, that the border is not closed. I did have in front of the Commerce Subcommittee the Commandant on the Coast Guard who said it would be disingenuous to claim that our border is closed. So at least somebody in government is recognizing the reality of the situation. Somebody within our agencies that are charged with securing the border. So again, I was hoping that members of this committee would not support the denial of reality and do, by the way, what Senator Carper did back in 2007. Support securing the border. Go back in 2007 when we passed the Securing the Border Act, we had more than 80 U.S. senators support securing the border. It made a lot of sense. It was a bipartisan issue. Why did securing the border become a partisan issue? It shouldn't be. We are a separate branch of government. We are the Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs. It is our responsibility to speak for the American public to secure the border. If this committee can't rise above partisan politics and do what the American people are demanding, secure our border, it'll be a travesty. So again, I'm just asking my colleagues, please, don't be partisan on this issue. There's nothing partisan about Homeland Security and border security. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Johnson. Seeing no other senator with a comment, the question before us is the Johnson Amendment number 1. A roll call has been requested. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
No by proxy.
Senator Hassan. No. Senator Sinema. Yes. Senator Rosen. No. Senator Padilla. No. Senator Ossoff. No. Senator Portman.
Aye.
Senator Johnson. Aye. Senator Paul.
Yeah, we're going to hold it.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Langford. Aye. Senator Romney.
We're going to try. We'll see how it goes.
Senator Scott.
I'm going to try to move it up.
Senator Hawley. Aye. Senator Peters.
No.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 6, the nays are 6. On the vote by proxy, the yeas are 1, the nays are 1. On this vote, the yeas are 7, the nays are 7, and the amendment is not agreed to.
The amendment is not agreed to.